Hello and welcome, everyone. I'm Dr. Jason Deitch, and you are watching another edition of the Cultivate Corner, where we get to have a great conversation about the amazing things that Cultivate is doing. And today we're joined by, of course, the president of Cultivate, Jerry Curtin, and Dr. David Fletcher. David, you are give me the proper title, Chief Clinical Officer of CLA?
And bottle washer.
And,
and bottle washer of CLA. Yeah, that's it.
All of the above. Two amazing gentlemen with incredible talents coming together to do what I think of as some pretty miraculous stuff. Let's get right into it. David, what takes you over the border into Wisconsin to make some magic happen?
Well, anytime that I get a chance to work with forward thinkers and driving forces within the profession, I'm all in. And so a while back, probably a year and a bit now, Jerry reached out to me and said, listen, we have this project, which is Cultivate. I'd cut my chops in doing corporate, so it was pretty familiar territory, back in the earlier days of creating wellness and otherwise. But this is a whole different game. This is at the pinnacle of certification of doctors being able to jump right into a corporate relationship that is so chiropractic and at the same time is so rich in business strategies that for me, when I took a look at it, I went, thank goodness, finally chiropractors get to elevate their excellence in an environment that is so rich, funded by standard process, driven by the executives like Jerry. This is a real deal. So that's why I'm jumping into this one.
I love it. It's awesome. Jerry, we have some new viewers. I know that we've gotten some great feedback from previous programs and so on. But just for those that might be new to this and seeing it for the first time, would you just kind of give us a brief overview of really what Cultivate is and how it helps the chiropractic profession?
Sure. Cultivate was born out of the wellness program that was started by our president, Charlie Dubois, at Standard Process. And it was really the ability to provide the right holistic kind of care to employees in a work environment. And we've been doing that very successfully for a long stretch of time. And so over the course of that experience, we not only found that the corporate-led wellness program was very effective in terms of acceptance within the employee population, it was also delivering some fantastic results. So we put some smart people around the table and said, look, we think that the expertise or the ability of the chiropractor is truly untapped, especially in this world of work where people are spending a lot of time doing physical activity every day. And so we've crafted this doctor that is so amazing to address not just chiropractic issues, but a whole myriad of wellness issues. And so what we do is we train these doctors to do what they're naturally good at. And we put a couple more tools on the belt. And then we match them up with a wellness coach. So it's a tag team operation. And we send those two professionals in to any corporation. And it's got scales in size and capacity. But those two individuals deliver a very comprehensive wellness program that provides a foundation for people to really make some behavior change. So it's very important for us to not only find the best chiropractors that are out there in the community, Jason, but we have to make sure that they're willing to elevate the skill set, maybe just one more level.
Very cool.
When we talk about compliance and rigor and the accountability that you've got in a corporate environment, applying certain rules and rigor is really important. So Dave's expertise, and not only in chiropractic, but understanding our value stream, he complements the education of those doctors so superbly. And when we use his material and his tools, we can provide the metrics and the data that our clients are looking for. So Dave inspires people just because he's been in the space for a long time. He's obviously a fantastic educator. And so the Cultivate mission is we want to be really good at what we do. And part of us being good at what we do is, hooking up with really smart people. So
I love it. What I love so much about your story is your story. And what I mean by that is this is really a natural evolution of, President Charlie Dubois having a long history of loving and supporting our profession and really doing whatever he can to philanthropically take it to another level.
Right.
And this is really sort of the byproduct, right? This wasn't just some people going, how do we figure out another income stream? Yeah. This is probably the greatest philanthropist our profession has seen, who brought in chiropractic care because of his love for it so much within his own company, experienced the incredible improvement in productivity, attitude,
Right.
and bottom line dollar savings by having chiropractors on site. That the only natural byproduct is to say, well, how do we bring this to other employers who are absolutely looking to figure out ways to reduce healthcare costs, increase productivity, and so on. I mean, this is the holy grail that employers are searching for.
I mean, we read the stories all the time, Jason, about how many Americans actually go and see a chiropractor, right? And we all know that we are so committed in this profession to make sure that we can bring more people into the expertise that we can show folks. But our examples are very impactful. We have, doctors that go into a company of 500 people, and maybe 10 to 15% of that population has experienced chiropractic. Well, we walk in the door and we're there all day, every day. We have brought 500 people that were in that community that didn't see chiropractic. And just think of how exponentially you can raise those numbers by going through, the employer who's paying the bills anyway, right?
I love that. And I love where you're going with that, because the implications are the employee goes, then their family goes, then they become a referral source in the community. And, one of those all boats rise with the tide. All right.
Yeah, we talked about this, I think, the last time. I think it's no longer an environment of one local chiropractor competing against the other one. In a mission like this, where we're all bound by one mission of bringing chiropractic and our expertise to the masses, it's causing us to be more collaborative with the chiropractors that are across town. We're not competing, for customers and patients anymore. We're lobbying and we're selling our wares and we're demonstrating our expertise to the employment community. And now we're seeing where multiple doctors, like you said, all boats are rising with the tide, and it's actually working, and it's true. It's really happening out there, and people are being very successful with the model.
That is awesome. I know that right now, I think it's later today, you guys have your on-site certification course. So for chiropractors who might be listening, maybe curious as to what that, I know I'm curious to learn more about it. Share with us, what is the certification course all about?
Well, I'll give you my version, then maybe Dave can give you yours. The certification really serves two purposes. The first one is to just attract a very talented chiropractor and open up a discussion that says, let's talk about your enterprise. Not just your practice, but what are your influences in the community? Where are your business influences? So we teach a set of skills that underpin every chiropractor's ability to advance and continue to grow their enterprise. So whether it's through Dave's stuff or through nutrition or fitness or education and our core pillars, we try to offer something that no matter if this is the right program for you, you're going to go back and translate some things into practice every day. And then the second piece of it is, quite honestly, the dating process, if you will, of the successful chiropractor who says, I think I can do this, but obviously I can't do it alone. So let's test out this partnership, and can you really advance my ability to have a bigger impact in the community? So we spend 2.5 days. We talk about high-level strategy. We go into diagnostics and measurable results. We go into evidence-based nutrition and dietary planning. And we talk about education and the role that wellness coach plays in the paradigm. And after a 2.5-day session, I think the doctors come away with a very, very good understanding of what the Cultivate program is, how it works on site, and then really that next question, which is, if I'm interested, how do I have to begin going down this road of expanding my enterprise beyond private practice? So, I mean, that's the two things that we solve for. You might see it a little differently.
No, I think that one of the things, Jason, that makes all the sense with Cultivate is that, there is a common thread. However you've been practicing chiropractic, however you see chiropractic in your community, in your practice, the one thing that is the constant that goes through all of our practice models is the principle of unmanaged stress. And at a corporate level, unmanaged stress is the costly ticket.
Sure.
And so, I like the term agnostic in the sense that Cultivate, as I see it, was designed in this agnostic model, meaning that it believes strongly in the uniqueness of chiropractic, or we wouldn't be under this same hood. But at the same time, it's very inviting because whether you have a principle of care that includes nutrition already, or whether it's associated with structural, occupational health, however you love to deliver your chiropractic, the umbrella of Cultivate and these 2.5-day programs that we have here really accentuate how to do better practices. So even if you don't, take the next step in the dating process coming away from this, or you just feel it isn't right for you at this time, what we know is that they walk away from a session like this having the sense that, wow, there's this bigness and richness of life that they may not have even thought. One of the problems that you and I, Jason, especially, being in the profession for as we have been for a long time, is there is this isolation factor.
Yeah.
And as much as we're connected through chiropractic, facilities and otherwise, when you're in practice, there's an isolation. Cultivate gives you such an outreach into your community. I mean, you were talking about that Batman and Robin thing with the wellness coach and the and the doctor. I mean, when you get a chance to go into a corporation and deliver that stress through the subluxation, stress through the structure, stress through the lifestyle modeling, however you want to do it, that's the agnostic model. Man, you can make your practice come alive. You can make the families in your community just feel so much more enriched. And on top of that, you're on the cutting edge of this enterprise project.
Yeah, I thanks. That's really nice to say. Really nice to hear. Our sort of vision with the chiropractor and patient relationship is also something that's slowly getting redefined in our world as well. And when we've got a chiropractor who has all of these other skills on the tool belt, and they can serve in a wellness paradigm in a more holistic fashion, now we've moved away from care plans and some of the things that we were traditionally taught, and the 10 visit, 12 visit, 20 visit. Now we're not talking about the next visit because we know they're coming back, and we're serving the spouse and the dependents. And when you start changing the relationship of looking at billing cycles to patient care plans, and you start talking about community health, you talk about family health, and you can expand beyond the traditional chiropractor services, I mean, that's where we're seeing that these practices are doing fantastic. I mean, we're glad that we're doing great for our clients. Obviously, if we wouldn't be in business. But the beautiful sort of output of this is that we're seeing private practices grow and flourish. So, we had a doctor who was very busy, didn't know if he could handle, 2 days a week in the Cultivate program. Here he is a year later. He's fully invested in Cultivate, and he has 2 associates now because his practice has expanded. He actually works less, has 2 more associates, and is making a little bit more money, and is serving about 3 times the population.
That's awesome.
And so I love bringing, folks like this to say, like, here's a really great chiropractor, but Dave and I always talk about those chiropractors in the middle of the bell curve. They're eager to do something more, or they're not excited about doing the same thing for the next 10 years. It might be additional modalities, it might be additional revenue stream, but these are people that are hungry and they know that they need to evolve. We just provide a pretty convenient umbrella that lets a doctor of just about any walk evolve in their own way with some rigor and some tools that we think apply across the whole spectrum.
That's awesome. I'll just add to that, one of the things I'm so impressed by really is the team that you're putting together. So, you've got Charlie who's fueling the vision. But Jerry, I think it's important for people to realize, you're kind of, the way I see it anyway, you're our ringer. I mean, what people learn in the certification program is in fact how to, it's the playbook from the employer side, your background from a human resource side, their chiropractors are not trained anywhere yet to speak corporate speak,
right.
To speak to the values of what a human resource director or vice president is thinking, let alone the right words, the right language, the right psychology. We just want to go in there and go, I love chiropractic, you should too.
Right.
But there's a whole language and culture and understand lexicon that you bring to the table here that I think is one of the most valuable parts of this certification part. A lot of chiropractors are good clinically, but they just are missing the translation of how do I effectively communicate and get employers to want me, to invite me to want to go on site. So I think that it's an awesome dream team you guys are putting together.
Thank you.
And
we spend a lot of time and energy, Jason, talking to chiropractors and challenging them with telling us, why are you great?
Yeah.
And a lot of doctors can give you a lot of great stories of why they're great. And one of the things that we try to do in this class is we don't dismiss any of those answers, but it's like, doing the translator on your iPhone. I'll take that answer and I'll say, now here's what the CFO would resonate with that story. And a lot of times they're going, well, I wouldn't have told it that way.
Right.
And I said, well, it's not that your message is wrong. You just have to use the right dialect. So yeah, I think you're right. Having the ability to take a chiropractor who feels like they know their client base really, really well. And they would look at this and go, I know CEOs and I know CFOs, but how do you have the conversation? And really, it's kind of that transition of how do you go from networking to selling?
Yeah. Or
how do you go from networking to presenting a value proposition? And one thing that we know is chiropractors are so freaking awesome at networking that they still, though, need a little bit of help in that sales process. So if we can get excited people to the table, to your point, we can walk them through the executive sales process, the C-suite decision-making roadmap, so that we lay the foundation right, so that when we, have to hit it on all cylinders, we're speaking all the languages. And at the end of the day, we're not really talking about the value of chiropractic. We're talking about the value of bringing healthier choices and all of this kind of stuff to a patient base. It just so happens that chiropractic is just the awesomest piece of the program.
That's exactly right.
And measurable outcomes.
And measurable
outcomes. One of the things that this common language that Jerry's talking about, and Charlie in his wisdom sort of tasked Jerry to say, listen, we don't want to have this just as this good idea. We want to be able to go to the C-suite and say measurable outcomes. And it really was on that sort of strength that they sought out, some of the work that I was doing, not just in the educational side, but, one of the passions that CLA has had, and, now I'm lucky enough to lead that, is that, we have been at the forefront of showing, but also measuring this value-based outcome. And good ideas are good ideas amongst community. People feel better. But when somebody's writing the check at a corporate level, they're saying, yeah, but show me. And this is this language that you were so adamant about us getting into this structure. And so, in the quest to get that, Jason, Jerry obviously invited me here, but he's also invited some incredible players that, I can't believe I get a chance to sit with them, whether they're on the research side or whether they're in the nutritional side. I mean, Rick is a brilliant provider, and he spends half his life at the National Academy of Sciences, getting funding and grants from these guys. So, this is not built as a good idea only. This is built with the strength of diagnostic, analytical, and communication background outcome measures all embedded into it.
That's awesome. So for chiropractors watching or listening, just so I'm clear, or so they're clear, they can do this certification program, go through the program, get an amazing education, and choose to either just go back to their community, implement what they've learned, like you said, sort of take advantage of the networking and relationships they have, and now be able to convert. The language I tend to use is you can be right or you can be effective, and they've been right all this time. Now they can actually be effective in their communication. But you guys are also the major leagues. So this is an opportunity for you to sort of scout out the talent for those that really are progressive and are the right fit, for them to then potentially work with you, and you place them in some of these high-level environments. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I don't think I could have said it better. I think that's very accurate.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah. So for anybody who's interested, they should contact you. Now, but before we close up, you guys are also doing something super cool tonight. So this isn't just about training chiropractors how to go out and be superstars in the employer environment. The other side of the equation is now inspiring employers to start, listening up and being curious to how they can save money. So tell us about how that's all working out.
Yeah, this is something that we absolutely love to do. We, just like any other business, we do all of our marketing and sales like any other business does, and usually to start getting people who are interested. We have sort of a graduated interest event, if you will, and it's for the business leaders of any community to come together for 2 hours and for them to bring their challenges or their business challenges about wellness to the table. So we talk a little bit about the Cultivate program, but it's really saying, hey, we have traveled the path, a couple decades worth now. And so come here and let's brainstorm together. We'll show you how we do things and we'll help you solve your problems. It's been extraordinarily effective, and we can bring, real smart people like Dave along. And you hear Dave talk about stress and the way that he does. Most business people have not heard, that kind of story laid out in front of them. So we let them know that wellness is not this insurmountable journey that you can't take by yourself. You actually can do it, and you can do it quite effectively. We talk about cost and money with anything in a corporate environment. Like Dave said, it talks about results, but once you show that you can get results, it moves to the next question, which is how much is it going to cost?
Right.
We take a lot of time telling and showing executives that they're already spending money on their wellness program. They just don't realize it. Yeah. You're spending money with vacation days, absentee days, hurt people, OSHA rates that are going through the roof. You're actually spending that money anyway. So these people want to do something about wellness. They're looking for a solution for their employees. They like what we have to say. So we obviously want to present our program, but we also serve as a business expert community for people who are just trying to uncover the journey and figure out what's next. So there's a lot of people that we talk to, Jason, that we don't do business with, but we just try to be good stewards in the community. And if folks need a leg up or a bit of mentoring, we like to open up and again, take advantage of the guy from Canada tonight and have him come in and talk to some Wisconsin folks.
I love it. I'm continually impressed. That's why I love doing this program with you. The Cultivate Corner is awesome. I know I learn something new all the time, and it just expands my vision, especially in this area. I think most of us know that, if we could connect the largest stakeholders in our nation, being employers, with the best kept secret in healthcare, being chiropractors, and do what you're saying, which is, translate it so the C-suite says, this is great, and then be able to deliver the goods. So if anything, we get in and grow. I think it's one of, if not the most powerful thing this profession has seen. So Jerry, maybe some final comments, and if people are curious to learn more, what do they do?
Yeah, you can always find us online, www.cultivateonsite, and that's ONSITE.com. When you go to the webpage, if you scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page, there's a section there that's just for chiropractors. So you can dig around there. You can learn more about the class. You can see some messages that we put out. You can see some of our marketing materials, some of the ways in which we deliver results. There's also an intake survey there. So if you don't want to pick up the phone and call, you can spend 5 minutes, fill out the online survey, and someone from my team will call you back. It's not an automated call back. We'll sit on the phone with you for about 30, 45 minutes, however long you want, talk about your practice, where you want to go, and then, if anything in the Cultivate suite of tools is something suitable for you. Awesome. The classes that we have, we run about 4 or 5 a year. It's starting to ramp up as interest is growing. So again, on the website, those classes, those locations would be noted there.
Outstanding. David, final closing comments?
Yeah, honored to be part of it. I'm always incredibly welcome here. And I think that's what people would feel if they came to the Cultivate. The one thing that I love about this is that, I think like most chiropractors, when you get into the community, you start to realize that we're really good at community networking and community building, but there's sort of this giant opportunity which no one has really cracked the code on, which is called corporate. I know that when my own practice, when I started to reach into that, I loved it, but I also hit some of these walls that I didn't know how to get through because I wasn't skilled. The Cultivate process really is there for chiropractors to break through those barriers that they may not have even known were in that opportunity list. So no, I'm thrilled, and Jerry has laid out and mapped out an incredible program. So it just feels right for me to be here.
Awesome. Well, with that said, I want to thank everybody for watching another edition of the Cultivate Corner. I'm envious. I wish I was there with you guys to learn and be a part of the party, and really something I find to be incredibly groundbreaking and extremely valuable for our profession, for our communities, for our employers, for our nation's economy, and on and on and on. So, guys, thanks for another great conversation, another terrific program. Thank you all for watching. Keep an eye out for our next edition of the Cultivate Corner.
Thanks, Jason.
Thanks, Jason.